my beloved child. At the very moment when you thought you had to face everything alone, someone quietly rose to defend you with a depth of faith greater than anything you had ever dared to imagine. I want you to pause and receive this truth with a peaceful heart, because what is happening around you is not a passing coincidence. Words have been spoken in your defense when you were not present. Hands have held open a door you believed had already closed. And someone has continued to recognize your worth, while others saw only the scars left by your journey. You may not yet know the names of everyone standing beside you, nor understand why they have placed such profound trust in you. But I know I allowed them to recognize within you a genuine light, a quiet perseverance, and a heart that does not easily change when adversity comes. That trust was not given to you because of eloquent words you once spoke, nor because you always appeared strong. They believe in you because they have seen how you remain upright when no one is watching, how you continue to treat others with kindness even while carrying wounds of your own, and how you refuse to use your pain as a weapon against anyone else. Certain qualities within you become visible only when the storm arrives. During the days when you were most exhausted, you still became a place of peace for someone else. Even while questioning your own strength, you spoke words of encouragement to those who were losing hope. None of this is insignificant in my sight. These are signs that you have matured through hardship and can now carry greater responsibility without losing your gentleness. Therefore, do not be surprised if recent days have felt more intense, if certain conversations have carried an unusual weight, or if seemingly ordinary decisions have stirred deep concern within you. You are standing before an important transition. It will not affect your life alone. It will also touch those who have placed their hope in you. Someone sees you as an anchor amid their confusion, as a voice capable of helping them distinguish truth from words that create fear and disorder. Someone believes that even when everything becomes uncertain, you will not betray what is right. They do not need you to be perfect. They need you to be sincere. They do not expect you to possess every answer. They simply hope that you will not turn away when responsibility calls your name. I understand that this may frighten you. You once believed you had too many shortcomings for anyone to trust you so deeply. You remember your failures, your unwise decisions, and the moments when you could not remain as strong as you had hoped. Yet, my beloved child, anyone who sees only your stumbles will never understand how far you have traveled. I do not define you by one day of weakness, nor do I erase your worth because of an imperfect choice. I see the entire journey, the times you rose again, learned to trust once more, repaired what could be repaired, and continued forward without allowing bitterness to take possession of your heart. That journey has prepared you. Every time you were forced to begin again, you learned how to support others with compassion rather than judgment, while you are still wondering whether you are strong enough. The person fighting for you has already recognized something you have not yet clearly seen. They see steadiness within you amid change, faithfulness amid relationships that easily fall apart, and a depth that cannot be measured by outward appearance. They could have chosen silence, yet they spoke. They could have withdrawn to protect their own interests, yet they decided to remain. They did not do so because you asked them, nor because they were obligated, but because they understood that what you carry deserves to be protected. It may concern an opportunity, a responsibility, a meaningful connection, or a new door, whatever form it takes. I want you to understand that this protection has not appeared without purpose. It is part of an arrangement that is leading you out of a narrow place and into a wider one. However, you must also remember that being defended by another person does not give you permission to become passive. The trust they have placed in you is an invitation to mature, to become more careful with your words, and to remain steadfast in your decisions. Do not allow impatience to destroy what has been built through many quiet months of faithfulness. Do not respond to pressure with reactions you will later regret. When you are misunderstood, remain composed. When you are pushed to prove yourself, allow honest actions to speak on your behalf. When someone tries to pull you back into old patterns, remember that you no longer belong to the version of yourself that lived under the rule of fear. I am teaching you to walk with dignity, without fighting for recognition and without diminishing anyone else in order to secure your position. There are battles you cannot see because they are taking place in meetings, private conversations, and decisions made by people who hold influence over the road ahead. You may notice only the delay, without realizing that behind it, someone is fighting to prevent the truth about you from being distorted. Someone is reminding others of your contributions when they focus only on your imperfections. Someone is questioning an unfair accusation. Someone is refusing to allow your name to be removed from an opportunity for which you have faithfully prepared. Therefore, do not assume that silence means defeat. Many good things are forming in places you cannot yet enter, and I am using even those you never expected to preserve what belongs to you. What you need to do now is not uncover every detail or attempt to control every outcome. Continue living according to the values you have chosen. Keep your word when you have made a promise. Work faithfully even when your efforts are not recognized, and guard the purity of your motives. Do not turn another person's trust into a burden that robs you of sleep. Receive it instead as a reminder that your life has made a genuine difference. You may once have believed you were invisible, yet your presence helped someone refuse to give up. You may have thought your words left no lasting mark, yet one sincere sentence from you became the strength another person needed to endure a difficult day. You do not have to do loud or spectacular things to live a meaningful life. Often, what causes others to trust you most is the patient way. You remain present through seasons when no one applauds you. I also want you to release the fear that one day everyone will discover you are unworthy of their trust. That fear does not come from truth. It comes from old wounds that taught you to believe you must constantly prove your value. You do not have to live in anxiety, fearing that one mistake will cause everyone to abandon you. Be humble enough to admit your faults when necessary, but do not punish yourself. Learn from your weaknesses, but do not use them as evidence against your future. Those who truly trust you do not expect you to become someone who never stumbles. They believe that even when you fall, you will remain honest enough to rise and courageous enough to correct your direction. In time, you will understand why I allowed this trust to come to you at this particular moment. It was not given merely to support you, but also to awaken you from the insecurity that has held you captive for far too long. You have become accustomed to seeing yourself through the eyes of those who fail to appreciate you. So, when someone recognizes something precious within you, your first instinct is to doubt them. This time, do not reject it too quickly. Learn to receive respect without becoming proud, to accept help without feeling indebted, and to enter an opportunity without making yourself smaller. You are not taking another person's place by moving forward. You are simply stepping onto the path that has opened after a long season of remaining faithful in unseen things. So, lift your head. My beloved child, the battle surrounding you is not evidence that you have been abandoned. It is proof that what you carry has value and deserves protection. The person standing beside you will not do everything in your place, but their presence will help you realize that you have never been alone. I am using their trust as a mirror so that you may finally see the strength you have denied for so long. Continue forward in peace, because truth will eventually be brought into the light. False words will lose their power, and the right door will open at the appointed time. You do not need to force your way forward, beg for acceptance, or become someone else in order to be chosen. Remain upright, because your genuine character is the reason they are fighting for you, the reason they continue to trust you, and the reason I have prepared you for the turning point that is drawing very near. What I want you to recognize in this very hour is that the miracle approaching you is not intended merely to change your outward circumstances. It is also coming to confirm that you belong to me, that you are walking with me, and that my hand has been guiding you through every stage of your journey. Many people look only for a visible result, an opening door, or a change in circumstance. Yet they fail to recognize the greater gift hidden within divine intervention, the assurance that your faith has been heard, your perseverance has been acknowledged, and your quiet steps have never been forgotten. I do not send goodness merely to give you a temporary reason to rejoice. Through it, I want you to understand deeply that I remain near, that I continue to walk beside you, and that I am involved in even the smallest details of your life. When you dare to move forward in faith, I am also working within realities your eyes cannot yet perceive, responding to your trust with perfect love and precision. There have been days when you wondered whether you had been trying for too long without accomplishing anything. You looked back upon the road behind you and felt that what you had planted had not produced a harvest equal to your labor. You offered sincerity, patience, time, devotion, and even your most private prayers. Yet silence still seemed to stretch before you. I know there were moments when you felt you were giving more than you received, obeying more than you were understood, and waiting longer than you believed you could endure. Yet, my beloved child, no good thing you have done has been lost. Every time you chose what was right when no one was watching, every time you restrained your words to preserve peace, and every time you continued despite your weariness, another stone was laid in the foundation of what I am preparing. You thought you were merely trying to survive a difficult day, but I was using that very day to build within you the maturity required for the door that is about to open. What has been taking place in hidden places is far greater than you realize. While you see only silence, I am arranging encounters, softening hearts, redirecting decisions, and causing opportunities that never existed before to begin taking shape. Certain things must be prepared before they reach you, because I do not want to place a beautiful gift into your hands at a time when you are not yet able to protect or sustain it. I do not rush merely to soothe your impatience. I work with wisdom so that what comes to you will not only bring joy, but will also remain, grow, and become a blessing to many others. Therefore, what you once misunderstood as rejection was often protection. Closed doors did not always mean that you were unworthy. Sometimes they remained closed because what lay behind them would have pulled you away from peace, purity, and the path I had prepared especially for you. Now I am leading you into a season in which your former steps will begin to reveal their meaning. You will understand why you had to learn to remain steadfast without praise, why you had to practice trust without receiving clear signs, and why certain people left at the very moment you believed you needed them most. None of these things happened to make you smaller. They occurred to free you from dependence upon what could not accompany you into your new journey. I taught you to find stability within, so that when goodness appears, you will no longer live in fear that it will be taken away. I taught you to distinguish between what is dazzling and what is enduring, between an opportunity that excites you briefly and a door that truly agrees with the deep peace within you. Because of this, when the miracle arrives, you will not merely take hold of it with your hands, you will receive it with maturity, gratitude, and responsibility. Do not limit what I can accomplish by what currently stands before your eyes. Your present circumstances are not the final declaration over your future. Numbers, evaluations, past failures, and the opinions of others have no authority to define the limits of the road I am opening. People often examine the past in order to predict what will happen next. But I look upon the purpose placed within you from the beginning. I know the abilities you have never used, the dreams you buried because you feared disappointment, and the doors you never dared to approach because you believed you were not enough. What I send to you will not require the approval of those who once doubted you, nor will it have to follow the pattern of what happened before. I can make a way where you see only limitation. Bring the right person at the right moment. Cause a new idea to arise. Or open a path you have never considered, although you cannot yet see the complete form of the coming change. It has already begun to move. Certain people are being prompted to remember you. A number of conversations are gradually leading toward decisions that concern you. Some opportunities remain in the form of seeds and have not yet broken through the soil, but they have already been watered by the faithfulness you have demonstrated over a long season. Do not dig up the seed merely because you cannot yet see a green shoot. Do not return to what is old simply because the new has not appeared clearly. It is during this period of transition that you must preserve your peace, because impatience may cause you to accept something that resembles the promise but does not possess its true nature. Continue to live uprightly. Perform the work before you with devotion, and do not allow bitterness to contaminate your heart. What I have prepared for you will not require you to fight for it in desperation. It will arrive in order, in peace, and in a manner that allows you to recognize my hand. I know that sometimes you are afraid to hope again because you have hoped before and been disappointed. You learned to protect yourself by expecting little, trusting cautiously, and refusing to open your heart completely. Yet, my beloved child, do not allow old experiences to become a wall that prevents you from receiving something new. Wisdom does not mean keeping every door closed. Wisdom means knowing where and when to open. Under my guidance, you do not have to force yourself to understand the entire journey. You need only remain faithful to the next step. Perhaps that step is simply to complete something you have delayed. Send a sincere message. Rest so that you may recover. Release a habit that has been draining you. Or courageously attempt again what once ended in failure. Small acts carried out in faith often become keys that unlock changes far greater than you could imagine. When goodness begins to appear, do not dismiss it as mere coincidence. Remember the nights when you prayed in silence, the mornings when you rose without motivation, and the moments when you chose to continue, even though no one could promise you a favorable result. The miracle approaching will remind you that no act of obedience is meaningless, and no sincere tear falls without being seen by me. However, the gift is not meant merely to prove that you were right or to cause those who underestimated you to regret their judgment. I want what comes to you to make your heart softer, more generous, and more willing to support those who are enduring the kind of waiting season you once endured. What I give does not end with you. It will flow through you like clear water, carrying hope into places that have become dry. Therefore, prepare yourself not through anxiety, but through gratitude. Bring order to what has become disorganized. Guard your words. Care for your health. Complete the small responsibilities entrusted to you, and allow peace to guide your decisions. Do not pursue every door simply because it opens. Seek the place where there is clarity, order, and dignity. I am not leading you into a new season so that you may repeat old wounds in a different setting. I am teaching you how to enter blessing with a heart that has been healed, a renewed way of thinking, and eyes capable of recognizing what is truly valuable. What is approaching will touch your circumstances, but on a deeper level, it will confirm that you have become a different person, calmer, wiser, more difficult to shake, and no longer dependent upon the approval of others in order to know your worth. Hold firmly to your faith, my beloved child, because you have not been left behind, nor have you been forgotten during this period of waiting. I am carrying out what must be done with a precision you cannot yet fully understand. What appears motionless is quietly changing. What seems tightly closed is beginning to open. What you once believed had ended may be transforming into a better beginning. Continue walking with humility and courage. When the appointed time arrives, you will look back and understand that every small step was leading you here. You will rejoice not only because your circumstances have changed, but because throughout the entire journey you learned the most precious truth of all: I never left you. My hand never released you, and the faith you placed in me was never in vain. The first thing I want you to engrave upon your heart at this moment is the need to return to the deep stillness within. Even while everything around you continues to change and its final form remains unclear, I know you have grown weary from trying to explain every movement through your own strength, predict every outcome, and control what lies beyond your reach. You have thought until you were exhausted, repeatedly asked yourself what you were still lacking, and tried to assemble scattered pieces into a complete answer. Yet the more urgently you searched, the more easily your heart fell into confusion. Therefore, I am not asking you to understand everything today. I am only inviting you to stop long enough to realize that peace does not come from knowing everything in advance. It comes from trusting that you are still being guided, even when only enough of the path is illuminated for the step you are taking now. My beloved child, the noise of the world often causes you to believe that the loudest voice must also be the most trustworthy. Judgments, anxious predictions, memories that have not yet been healed, and fears created by your own imagination may all crowd into your mind at once, leaving you unable to distinguish the voice that brings wisdom. Yet truth does not fight for attention, nor does it drive you through panic. Truth remains steady, gentle, and clear, like the morning light that needs no words in order to make darkness withdraw. When you learn to breathe slowly, step away from the noise, and resist reacting immediately to everything that happens, you will hear more clearly the guidance I planted within you long ago. You will recognize that many times when you believed you were standing alone, I was quietly shielding you. Many times when you thought you had taken the wrong road, I was simply leading you along a different path to protect you from something you were not yet prepared to see. Do not hastily conclude that silence means I have gone far from you. There are seasons when I do not answer in the manner you expect, because I want you to mature in discernment, instead of depending only upon immediate signs. I was there when you wept without being able to name your pain. I was there when you had to make a decision while your heart was still trembling. I was there when the door before you closed and you could not understand why. My presence cannot be measured by your temporary emotions. Even on days when you feel nothing unusual, I am still arranging, repairing, and protecting the matters that concern you. Therefore, stop blaming yourself for not possessing every answer. You have not been left behind. You are simply being taught to walk by a trust deeper than anything your eyes can confirm. From that place of stillness, I want you to examine what you have been trying to keep beside you. Certain things were suitable for an earlier season, but can no longer accompany you into the road ahead. You have held on to some relationships because you feared the emptiness that would remain after they left. You have maintained habits that exhausted you simply because they were familiar. You have repeated thoughts that made you diminish yourself because you lived with them for so long that you began to mistake them for truth. Yet, my child, what is familiar is not always where you belong. A garment that once fit may become restrictive as you grow, and a road that once helped you survive may not carry you to the place I am preparing. If you continue carrying everything from yesterday, your hands will have no room to receive what is coming. I understand that letting go is not always a gentle act. There are things you loved with complete sincerity, invested time in nurturing, and filled with countless hopes. When they depart, you may feel as though an important part of your life has been taken away. Yet I want you to learn the difference between loss and release. Not everything that leaves you is a disaster. Certain departures are protective boundaries, hands lifting you out of places that were quietly draining you. I do not deny your sorrow, nor do I ask you to pretend that you are not hurting. I simply remind you that the pain is not the end. It can become a doorway into maturity, where you learn to love without losing yourself, to appreciate without becoming dependent, and to close a chapter without carrying bitterness into the next one. Perhaps you still wonder why I did not preserve the people you once begged me to keep. Perhaps you have examined yourself repeatedly, searching for where you went wrong or where you were not good enough. Yet not every separation is caused by your shortcomings. Some people are permitted to walk beside you only for a certain distance. They help awaken a lesson, a strength, or a deeper understanding within you. And then their journey turns in another direction. What I ask of you is not to chase after them and force them to return. Honor what was good, receive the wisdom you needed, and continue forward in peace. You do not need to turn every farewell into a verdict against your worth. Another person's departure cannot define you, nor can it erase the dignity I placed within you. There are also things that do not take the form of a person, but have held you captive for a long time. It may be the need to receive everyone's approval, the habit of explaining yourself excessively so that no one misunderstands you, the fear that causes you to choose what feels safe instead of what is right, or an old memory that continually warns you that you will fail again. These burdens do not make a loud noise, yet they quietly slow your steps. I want you to lay them down little by little. You do not have to release everything in one day, but you can begin by refusing to continue feeding what weakens you. Every time you choose a healthy thought instead of self-condemnation, every time you establish a boundary instead of suffering silently, and every time you refuse to return to a place that wounded you, you take another step toward freedom. Understand that I do not remove things merely to leave you empty. I clear space so that you may receive what is more suitable. A garden that is meant to bloom must have its dry branches pruned, not because the gardener despises the plant, but because the gardener sees the life waiting to be awakened within it. Your life is the same. Seasons of purification may confuse you, but they do not come to destroy you. They come to return you to what is pure, so that you no longer scatter your strength among places that produce no good fruit. I am teaching you to distinguish between what gives temporary comfort and what truly helps you grow. The first may feel familiar, but only the second can lead you toward wholeness. When you have learned to become still and to let go, you will notice that your steps feel lighter. You will no longer fight to keep doors that I have allowed to close, struggle to persuade those who have chosen to misunderstand you, or spend your time repairing what was never your responsibility. The energy once consumed by worry will become wisdom, and the hours once spent looking backward will be invested in building what lies ahead. You will begin to feel a gentle yet enduring strength growing within you. It will not be a hardness that closes your heart, but a steadiness that allows you to keep loving without being dragged back into old cycles. Therefore, do not fear the empty spaces that are appearing. Emptiness is not always evidence of lack. Sometimes it is sacred space in which something new is being formed. Do not rush to fill the silence with another relationship, an impulsive plan, or decisions born from fear. Allow me to use this season to restore you, correct your direction, and purify your desires. In time, you will understand that even what once caused you to weep helped lead you closer to the person you were created to become. I do not promise that every step will be easy, but I promise that no step taken in trust will ever be wasted. My child, be at peace. You do not have to run quickly in order to prove that you are moving forward. Some of the greatest progress occurs in silence, when you decide not to return to what has already been closed. When you choose trust instead of control, and when you lay down a burden you have carried for far too long. I am still guiding you with patient love, protecting you through every change, and preparing a wider road before you. Remain in peace. Listen with a tender heart, and courageously release what has completed its purpose. What truly belongs to you will never require you to sacrifice your peace in order to keep it. And what I have prepared for you will arrive at the right time, in a form more beautiful than anything you could have arranged for yourself.